You know, I've encountered unfavorable circumstances in the past, but never anything quite like this. Here's a brief overview. Approximately 2 weeks ago, my financial situation was perilously low. It seemed the demand for dubious contract killers wasn't exactly reaching its peak. Faced with impending eviction, I became open to any job less challenging than assassinating the president. My wish was granted about a week after receiving the eviction notice. $20,000 for one target, seemingly without any complications. The catch: the mysterious employer provided no alias or even a name for the target, referring to him only as the freak. It was an odd situation, but desperate times call for desperate measures. They wired $10,000 up front, with the remainder promised upon completion of the job. I set off to the provided address, arriving by 10 p.m. to prepare. My arsenal was heavier than usual, anticipating a well-armed and trained target willing to pay a substantial sum. Alongside the usual weapons, I brought a grenade, just in case things went awry. I concealed myself in the dimly lit factory, awaiting the appointed midnight hour. At 12:11, the rusty doors dramatically swung open. I observed through my scope as an unusually tall figure, donned in a windbreaker and slacks, forcefully entered. Given the description provided, this had to be the target. I mean, how many people stand at 6'10"? He moved at an unexpectedly swift pace, making a clean shot difficult. And he seemed unarmed, prompting me to ease my tension. However, he sprinted for reasons unknown. He vanished when he collided with a door on my left. With caution, I switched to the silenced Beretta, holstered the CZ-75, and pursued him. The area he entered was pitch black, but I was prepared with night vision goggles. It appeared to be a hallway, but I couldn't locate him. This triggered my first peculiar thought. How was he navigating in darkness? My pondering ceased abruptly at the sound of a shrill scream from the end of the hall. I cautiously approached, and just as I reached halfway, the screaming abruptly stopped. As if on cue, a body was flung out of a room to my left, a 20-something male hitting the wall and crumpling to the floor. Disturbed, I retreated to the main entrance hall, where I armed myself, training the CZ directly on the intersecting corridors. From my concealed position, I monitored every step the figure took, my heart pounding with each approaching stride. He drew closer, and when he finally emerged into my view, I unleashed the entire clip. Despite my typically decent accuracy, he remained standing, barely flinching. Upon closer inspection of his face, the sight was beyond anything comprehensible. His eyes constantly morphed, sharing a large, empty pupil. The twisted grin seemed to envelop his entire head, and the rest of his facial skin shifted like a grotesque dance. This entity stared directly at me, emitting a deep, throaty laugh that echoed through the hall, disorienting me. I abandoned the CZ, opting for the Beretta and firing 3 shots into its head, but the laughter only intensified. Disturbed and feeling outmatched, I retreated to the main factory floor. My thoughts were chaotic, but I remembered the shotgun's location. I retrieved it as the entity, now missing a leg, approached me. Despite the injury, it refused to succumb to my attacks. Exhausted and in pain, I resorted to the shotgun once more, firing until it climbed a wall and disappeared through an open window. That marked the end of the encounter. I packed up, fled to my car, and sped home. Hours later, I remained in disbelief over the harrowing events. Attempting to contact my mysterious employers proved futile, but an intriguing development surfaced on the news. A murder in the same abandoned factory was reported, involving a wanted enforcer for a local criminal gang. The same individual I witnessed being hurled against a wall. Moreover, recent killings of 5 contract killers in the same state raised suspicions of a connection. Authorities dismissed the possibility of a rogue vigilante, labeling it the work of an unhinged psychopath. The enigmatic entity is still alive, and if it returns for me, I fear luck might not be on my side. Perhaps hiring someone else to confront it is worth considering. In the aftermath, I find myself grappling with disbelief over the surreal sequence of events. The mere thought of that enigmatic entity haunts me, and I am reluctant to delve into the mystery surrounding its nature. Attempts to reach out to the shadowy figures who orchestrated this bizarre assignment have been met with silence, leaving me in a state of confusion and vulnerability. Meanwhile, the news reports shed light on a murder that echoes the very grounds where I faced the unexplainable. The victim, a notorious enforcer for a local criminal gang, turned out to be a wanted figure. This revelation intertwined with a series of recent contract killer deaths in the same state, pointing toward a sinister connection. While I had come across mentions of these individuals in dark web circles weeks ago, I dismissed them as mere incompetence. However, the unfolding events suggest a deeper, more ominous pattern. Law enforcement, in a press conference, hinted at the involvement of an unhinged psychopath, dismissing the possibility of a rogue vigilant. The entity's persistence and the subsequent revelation of its past victims cast a daunting shadow over my future. I sit here, contemplating the best course of action, uncertain about the true nature of the malevolent force I encountered. As I reflect on the recent developments and the unnerving encounters with the malevolent entity, a profound sense of unease lingers. The enigma surrounding its existence, coupled with the eerie silence from the enigmatic employers, intensifies the mystery. The news reports, linking the entity's presence to a string of targeted killings, paint a grim picture. The revelation that the figure I encountered was, in fact, a wanted criminal enforcer adds another layer of complexity to the unfolding narrative. With each passing moment, the chilling realization sinks in. The entity, whatever it may be, is still at large. Contemplating my next move, I can't shake the feeling that my ordeal is far from over. The shadow of uncertainty looms, leaving me to grapple with the unsettling aftermath of a nightmarish assignment.